The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten, he wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold, and the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
You can't make this shit up.
Great down along the first surface gives them a lot of firepower where they can pressure the quarterback also when they need to. Silver and black, faithful will say. Boy, that brings back some memories of Jack Squirek back in 1983 with interception right before the half on a similar play and a touchdown.
You can't make this shit up.
Raiders!
Who's got it?
DB sure does. He's got Cooper. There he goes.
And Bo Jackson to the 20 and out in front. And only one man to do that. He can't run him down. He had the angle, but there goes Bo. And nobody catches Bo. Touchdown. Touchdown! Raiders!
Drink Trump reverse.
It's going down. Pick the black.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
I'm here. Want to make sure you can see me. I think you can. I know you can hear me. Yeah, Raider Nation. How you doing tonight? It's the captain. And I'm here on a Sunday for an Ask the Captain show. Now, pretty soon, I'll be bringing about the line where you can actually call in. And I believe y'all got the number because I posted it. But don't call in yet. Don't call in yet. There's a reason why I don't want you to call in yet. Is because and I'm going to get this all squared away so I got something else ready to go. We are going to be talking to somebody, Raider Nation-wise, that I enjoy hanging out and talking with because I've had a chance to talk to him in the past. Now, I won't say who it is quite yet because I just want to let you guys know in case you've missed it. It's Sunday, and sometimes you don't know what's going on. As you can tell by looking at this, I've had a little bit of a remodel in the room. Kind of a unique portion here because all of the stuff that was behind me is out there in the hallway because I'm going to be doing a podcast locally, and I needed to make some room for a second person. But as you can see, I still got plenty of Raider gear up for when I'm with you guys. I love the fact I got a chance to hang out and get the pirate flag right behind me. And as you can see, the rest in the room, there's other things here, to make it a little more homey. But I tell you, as long as you're not coming into the room because it's like going through a minefield. Going through a minefield to get into the room. Well, not a minefield per se, but it's like a little bit of a weaving course. And so, without further ado, let's get our guest on here now. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Won't be able to be doing the Facebook thing because there's a basketball game going on and too much commotion at home. So I'll just do it from my cell phone. If there's any questions, you can relay them to me. Okay.
Hey, and mystery caller, don't reveal yourself yet, because I want you to hear what I have here for the guests and everybody else. Okay. Raider Nation, I want you to listen again to portions of the promo, because this is important for you to understand who I got on the line. So, again, don't reveal yourself yet, sir. I want you to listen to this. And we go right now.
Silver and black, faithful will say, boy, that brings back some memories of Jack Squirek back in 1983 with interception right before the half on a similar play and a touchdown.
You can't make this shit up.
And there it is, folks. If you guys had a chance to hear the Jim Nantz call of the game where the Raiders played the Panthers in the 2016 season, you heard him say that this interception reminds Raider Nation of a certain interception from Mr. Jack Squirek. Jack, welcome to the show, and thank you for coming aboard, sir.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's an honor for us. And again, I had on last week, I had on Skip Thomas's son, Alonzo Jr. So I had a chance to, what I want to do is I want to make sure that the younger crowd, and, not that I'm belittling the millennials, because, they're just a different group, but a lot of the younger folks don't, they don't get the older and more established members of Raider Nation that I grew up with. And Jack, it's been 35 years since you took that interception back of Joe Theismann and was the hero of at least the first half. So I'm going to let you go off and say a little bit about you to the crowd that we have out here.
Well, yeah, that was a special moment in Super Bowl 18. So while playing for the Raiders when we won that Super Bowl, and making a big interception and scoring touchdown in the Super Bowl it was a dream come true for me, especially us defensive guys. We don't get that opportunity to score touchdowns or even interceptions, and the fact that, doing it in the Super Bowl was it was a special moment for me, and the memories of playing for the Raiders, just a lot of fond memories. We had a close-knit group of players, and we all got along real well. And I think that's a big reason we won a lot, is because obviously we had a ton of talent, but we also got along as players, and off the field we had a great group of guys, and we all got along real well. And I think that's a key in winning any championship, is how much you respect each other as players and as people.
Well, I wanted to let folks know, Chris Lentz, no, it's not Jack Tatum, because unfortunately Jack Tatum is no longer with us. He died a few years back from some of the complications of his diabetes. Not Jack Tatum, Jack Squirek. So what you guys should do is, again, if you don't know the play, the last time the Raiders won a Super Bowl, 38-9 over the Redskins, 1983 season, 1984 was the actual, January 84 here in Tampa was the actual year. And we do have Jack Squirek on the phone. And I could tell you guys that there's not a nicer person, you know, very personable. As I said this about Lincoln Kennedy, as I was saying on the group, that I'm fortunate that I've had a chance to talk to some people that were on the Raiders, and you know, you're not full of yourselves, and you're just an awesome person to hang out with, sir.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And like I said, I think if you look at most of the players that played in that era that we played in, we all got along as a group real well. And I really think it, you know, helps in winning and, you know, and just succeeding in general, you know. But we just had some good times. Like I said, we had some fond memories. My memory of that whole season is a great one because during the regular season, we pretty much dominated. We lost a couple games, but those were later in the year after we knew we clinched the playoffs. So we knew we had home field advantage and everything, and we lost a couple, but they weren't meaningful games. And then I just remember us playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then we played the Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, and they had beaten us twice that year. And I just remember we came out. That was the AFC Championship. Came out in that game, and we pretty much dominated the Seahawks in that game. We knew we had to win that, and then it was on to the Super Bowl. And it was just like I said, it was a memorable Super Bowl. Everybody played hard, and we just took advantage. They made some mistakes. We took advantage of those mistakes and end up winning the game 38-9.
Well, I was going to say, one of those games that you lost during the year was your trip to D.C., where a certain play was made where Joe Theismann would have that quick little wheel route to Joe Washington coming out of the backfield, and obviously some good intelligence was gleaned in the fact that, and actually this was something that I didn't know about until I read about it before, was that everybody gives credit to Charlie Sumner on this, but it was actually an intern that remembered that play, told Sumner, he said, hey, about, you know, we might want to do that again as far as insert, you know, Jack in there for Matt Millen so that he could have that wheel route covered.
Yeah, that was Johnny Otten. He was pretty much a do-everything guy for the Raiders. He broke down film. He filmed practices for us. He did computer work. But he also, you know, the coaches all respect him because he was basically like an unofficial coach. You know, he'd help out on the sidelines, and I think, like you were saying, the coaches respect him so much. And I didn't even realize until about 10 years ago when he told me, he said, Jack, you know, I kind of told Charlie about that play that could happen. And I said, really? What happened? He said, well, you know, we're on the sideline. Most of the coaches had come down from the press box because there was only 20 seconds left. So they were coming down to get ready for halftime. He said, I saw that Joe Washington going in the game for the Redskins. And he said, I told Charlie Sumner, our defensive coordinator, he said, Charlie, you know, they might run that screen again that they ran earlier in the season on us. And when they ran that screen earlier in the season on us, they're in the same situation about the 10-yard line, ran the screen, gained about 70 yards, and kicked the field goal before halftime. So they tried that again, and Charlie grabbed me on the sideline. He said, Jack, watch you going in. You're going to cover Washington man-to-man. Everybody else is going to be in the zone prevent defense. And, you know, I kind of remember him saying, don't do something stupid like go for the interception. And obviously it was a reaction because I wasn't thinking about it, but saw the ball and intercepted it. And the rest is history. Scored the touchdown. And, you know, as I said, for a linebacker to score and touchdowns, like a dream come true. It's something you dream about as a little kid in the backyard playing football.
There you go. And then you're the SI cover boy the next week too.
Yeah, and then my agent was Lee Steinberg, you know, the famous agent, And he called me probably a week before it came out, and he said, there's a rumor that you might be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And that was, like I said, I can't describe what it's like to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Just, it's something you don't even think about because, as I said, you're a linebacker or a defensive player. That doesn't even enter into your imagination. But, just the fact that we won the Super Bowl, and as I said, just all that happened was beyond imagination. And, it's indescribable to win the Super Bowl because I think when you play and you get there and you win it, you always think you're going to come back and win it again, but you don't realize how difficult it is to do because you have injuries, you have other situations that come up, and it's just hard to get to the Super Bowl and then to win it. It just really takes a lot of things coming together.
Well, I know about that as far as, listening to your stories before. We have a question from a Mr. Michael Merkard that said, do you think that your interception right before halftime motivated the team to the overwhelming win?
Yeah, I think in any game, and especially a Super Bowl, it's a confidence factor. I mean, when you go up 21-3, you have a lot of confidence. Obviously, we didn't go when we went into the locker room at halftime. We didn't get overconfident. We didn't think we got this in the bag, but I think it gives you a lot of confidence. And the fact that Washington had to change their game plan a lot, being down 21-3, I think they wanted to run Riggins a lot more, and that wasn't working. And then after the interception, it made it 21-3, and they had to start thinking about passing. And we had the two best cornerbacks that ever played, in my opinion. I don't think too many people would argue about that. And we had shut down cornerbacks, and when we knew they had to pass, we had a great defensive pass rush, and I think it played kind of into our hands, being up 21-3.
Well, I do remember though that the Redskins came out into the second half. They scored a touchdown pretty immediately, but then Don Hasselbeck blocked the extra point, so it was 21-9 at that point, and that just that block took a little bit of the steam out of their sails because they figured, well, okay, 21-10, it's right in the game again. But that one point, just like going down and just saying, oh, man, we didn't get the 7. We only got the 6. I'm sure. Now, how did you guys react to that on the sidelines after that?
That, like you said, that block extra point, I mean, a point doesn't seem like a lot, but I think that took a lot of wind out of our sails. And if I've listened to the game, the original telecast on TV, and Madden even says, hey, a blocked extra point sometimes can mean a lot. And I think that did. Obviously it was 21-9, and they kind of got themselves somewhat back in the game, but I just think we're firing on all cylinders in that game. And I don't know, it was just one of those games where everything was going our way, and I think we're unbeatable that day.
Of course, the nail in the coffin afterwards was, I think it was 74-yard touchdown that Allen ran, was the Bob Trejo reverse, and he cuts left, realizes that he's about ready to get swamped, and then doubles back on himself, runs right, 74 yards later, pay dirt. Raiders have made it really silly at that point, and that was the definitive nail. Your nail was right before halftime. Hasselbeck's nail was obviously that point that he got. And by the way, folks, if you don't realize, Don Hasselbeck's sons are the two quarterbacks that you know of, Matt and the other guy, the other Hasselbeck. So that's their dad. And of course, with Bob Trejo, and I can't remember what it was. It was 42, 63, some number Bob Trejo and then Marcus running it for 74 yards was just. I mean, I'm sure at that point you knew that they were toast.
Yeah, it was over at that point. And I think, that run by Marcus Allen might be one of the, I definitely know it's one of the most athletic plays I think I've ever seen, because, I mean, he's running full speed one way, the defender's running full speed at him, and he stops on a dime and reverses field. And then if you watch that, you realize how quick and explosive Marcus was, because that run was incredible.
Another question from Mr. Chris Lentz. Jack, who was your inspiration to as a former player growing up that you knew wanted to play football and became the legend you are today? Basically, who did you idolize as a kid that made you the player you were?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's any one player. I grew up like loving football. I mean, I remember watching Gale Sayers play and actually Greg Pruitt, one of my teammates. He's about, I think, 9 years older than me, but he played with the Cleveland Browns. I grew up in Cleveland, and just watching him play, he was such an exciting player. Quick, explosive, and it's hard to say any one player, but there are a lot of them. As I said, I just grew up really enjoying football, the physicality of it, and just, the competition.
A question from Mr. Terry Courts. Who's your favorite player in the NFL today?
In the NFL today, let's see. I don't know that I have any one player. I like Derek Carr. I would say Derek Carr. I enjoy watching him play. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. So I would have to say Derek Carr. I'm a little biased with the Raiders, so
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Now I got a couple. Now, how many years did you play for the Raiders? And granted, they were in Los Angeles at the time. And when you broke in, obviously you were more of a linebacker that was going to be coming in on passing situations. But what was your niche for the Raiders in the years that you played?
I would say pass coverage. I was more of a athletic linebacker, speedy, and quickness is what I used to make plays. I would say that was probably my niche. We had Matt Millen and Bob Nelson, who were the run stuffers. They did a great job with that, but I always enjoyed making plays like tackles beyond line of scrimmage, and I was probably more suited for I was probably more of an outside linebacker, but since I was bigger, they kept me inside. I did play a little bit outside, but they pretty much kept me inside because of my size.
Well, there's not too many players that are going to go through 55 and 51. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think Matt Millen they listed him at 250 pounds, but he was more like 275. And his arms, I think, were bigger than his arms were as big as my legs, I think. I mean, he just had these massive biceps, And there weren't many offensive guards that could knock him around. He pretty much stuffed everybody.
Definitely. And coming from...
Actually had pretty good speed for his size, and he did well in coverage, actually.
Actually, now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he have, I don't want to say a conniption fit, but didn't he pretty much like when you were coming in for him on that one play in the Super Bowl, he was kind of pissed off?
Yeah, I think he said something like he had a blitz lined up. He wanted a blitz on that play, and Charlie pulled him out, and he said, "Charlie, I was all cranked up about the blitz, I had on." But you know, we always had a good relationship. You know, we got along real well, and he was just a classy guy. And you know, he probably gets tired of the question. You know, Jack replaced you, but you know, he's pretty good about it.
Well, remember though, like I said, without your play, and you know, if Mr. Otten hadn't gotten to that remembering about that screen pass that Washington had originally, it could have turned the whole Super Bowl around at that point. So I mean, obviously it was a dynamic play that was well remembered.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody would say take that play out of the. You know, you always take what you can get, and you know, like I said, it's a momentum. Whenever you can get that momentum, I know that had to really take a lot of wind out of our sails because there was 12 seconds left in the half, and we scored a unexpected touchdown. So I mean, that had to be a dagger, and you know, something that's hard to overcome. You know, just confidence-wise.
Okay, I'm going to put it up to our viewers. Folks, if you got any further questions for Jack Squirek, please put them in. Okay, here's one from Chris again. What advice would you give players today, and what would change in the NFL today to bring them back to the old days of football? Good question, Chris.
Advice for players today, I would say enjoy it, respect your team. I mean, I don't know that they don't, but just, you know, enjoy the game while you can, because it's a short-lived. The NFL is really a short-lived career for the most part. Some guys do play long, but for the most part, it's a short career. And you know, like I said before, I mean, winning involves talent. You have to be talented. You have to have a lot of gifted players to win a Super Bowl. But I also think a big part of winning that Super Bowl is having a close-knit group, being close-knit with your teammates and having a close-knit group. That's really important. I don't know if you can overemphasize that point.
Well, one of our viewers stated that the advice that he would give him is to stop kneeling. So I and you know what, T Courts, I agree with you. We've gone into that. And Jack, I don't want to put you in the middle of a dynamic, you know, crosshairs. I'm gonna get to Chuck's question in a minute. But what do you feel about, you know, kind of like the way that the newer players are going about with that, you know, the protesting that they're doing is kind of discombobulated. They say it's one thing, but it's really another, and it's really distractioned. And so I got, quickly, how do you feel about that? And then I got two more questions for you, and then we'll let you go unless you want to stay on.
Yeah, I just wish they could. I mean, everybody's doing well financially. I mean, the money that's the owners and players are making, we never even dreamed about that. I wish everybody could just sit down at a table and have some open dialogue. I mean, have the owners, the players, have maybe Army veterans, police officers, you know, and vent. Everybody could have a, you know, vent and try to find out a solution. I mean, like I said, we all got along as a team, but there were times when I played where we got together and there was shouting matches and we all vented. And after the meeting, we vented, and then after the meeting, we were best of friends. But we put it all on the table and said, "This is our problems. This is our issues. How can we solve this?" You know, and I think that's what needs to be done. Everybody needs to sit down and talk. Maybe even invite fans in there. I don't know. But, you know, it's. I just want to see it resolved. And I think most of the fans and everybody involved want to see it resolved.
And that's an excellent. In fact, the gentleman that put in the stop kneeling said that's an awesome idea. So he likes it. So at least.
Yeah, I mean, you're you're an Army vet. I mean,
well,
I'm
Navy,
sure that-
Navy there, Jack. Navy.
Okay, Navy, sorry. But I mean, you know, I'm sure you have two different views. I mean, you fought because, you know, for freedom of speech, but you know, I think it can be resolved. I think, you know, with some open dialogue, like I said, you know, sometimes teams, when they're on a losing streak, they have a team meeting and things happen. You know, you vent it out and get it resolved, you know.
True. Now, here's two for you from Chuck Mulaney and Mike Merkard. Who do you see presently that plays the game in your style of play? And then the second one was, did being such underdog going into the game, did it help motivate the team? Because I know the Redskins were picked to just demolish the Raiders that game.
Okay, I'm trying to think of who. You know, I watch football, but I don't really watch it that closely where I, you know, can really say who plays like my style. Like I said, basically I was a pass. I did well in pass coverage. That was my forte. I would say any player that does well in pass coverage is probably a similar player to what I was. Like I said, I was more of a playmaker. You know, Matt Millen and Bob Nelson were our run stuffers, and they did that well. And, you know, I would say the thing that I did best was in pass coverage or making a play like that involved using my speed and quickness. And then the second question was
about being underdogs.
I'm sorry, what?
About being the underdogs going into the Super Bowl. Did it help obviously motivate the team to come out there and kick the Redskins' ass?
Yeah, I think it did. I think anytime you're an underdog, you kind of, it's a chip on your shoulder. And actually, the game we lost early in the season to the Redskins, it was a close game. It was like, I think they beat us 41 to 38. Something.
It was a shootout.
Shootout. But it was a close game, and I believe Marcus Allen was injured out that game. I'm not sure, but we had a couple key players out.
That was also the 99-yard Plunkett to Cliff Branch touchdown that's tied for the longest in NFL history was in that game.
And I think Cliff Branch pulled his hamstring on that. I can't say for sure, but I believe he didn't play the whole game. So we had a couple key players out of the game. So I think we came in that game pretty confident. And then, you know, I also think, like you said, that being underdogs always helped the Raiders. I know when we used to go to like Kansas City or Denver and we get booed, that would help us. You know, people think, oh, they're booing us, that's going to hurt us. No, that helped us, brought us together, made us feel it's us against the world, made us play better. So, you know, anytime we're an underdog, I think if you ask any of the old-time Raiders, they would say the same thing. Being an underdog helps us.
Well, Jack, I got you on now. There is a couple more questions. Are you free to continue on, or would you like to call it a night?
Yeah, I have about 10 more minutes.
Okay. Mike Conte says that John Riggins was a good running back, and it was a real big game plan to stop him from getting through the line because you guys did great. How did you game plan that day defensively to stop Riggins, Theismann, and the Fun Bunch?
I think what we did against Riggins, we set Reggie Kindler, our nose guard. We didn't, you know, we had some defenses where he wasn't actually up on the center. He played like a yard or two off. And that game plan, Charlie Sumner, our defensive coordinator, was a great defensive coordinator. He came up with that game plan to set Reggie off a little bit. And then our defensive line just did an incredible job of penetrating. And Riggins was the kind of guy, he needed like about 4 steps to really get going. and he never could really build up the steam to do the damage. So we penetrated real well and pretty much shut him down. I think he had only 60 yards on 20 carries. So we did our job there. But like I said, Charlie Sumner, our defense coordinator, was a great game planner. And actually, I think he's the one that came up with the corner blitz 40 years ago. So he was kind of an innovative guy and great game planner.
Now, in your opinion, and this is from Mr. Chris Lentz, who's the most underestimated player in Raiders history, in your opinion, that you can think of?
Underestimated?
Probably, yes. Somebody that doesn't get their fair shrift and that should be espoused a bit more so that people know how great that they were, because either you played with them or maybe somebody that you know about that just doesn't get their due in Raider lore.
Okay, I would say probably like, Derek Jensen, he just passed away. He was a great special teams player and did everything, ran the ball real well. Not a big name guy, but he never really, got a lot of attention, but him blocking that punt in the Super Bowl.
There you go. That started it right there. He blocked it and recovered it for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. And he did great special teams player, and every now and then he'd get in there on offense, but he never was a big name guy that got a lot of credit. But blocking a punt in the Super Bowl, that's a big deal, especially scoring a touchdown with the block punt. But I would say him. Obviously, there's a lot of guys that should be in the Hall of Fame that aren't, which is a little disappointing. I don't know if the league doesn't like the Raiders. Well, I know they don't like us, but I don't know if they still don't like us that much. I mean, I know back then that, the NFL really didn't care for the Raiders, but I don't know if that's a fact that hurts us or what. But, Cliff Branch should be in there, Jim Plunkett. I mean, he won 2 Super Bowls and had a great career. I don't understand it.
Well, Jim and of course Tom Flores are the only multiple winners via the quarterback or the coach, and that's not playing presently, obviously, because Eli's won 2. But of the people that are retired right now that are either a quarterback or a coach that have won multiple times, both Flores and Plunkett are not in the Hall of Fame, and that's a travesty.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I just don't get it. But, I mean, even Lester Hayes, there's people I'm not even thinking about, if I really sat down and thought about it. I mean, I remember talking to Ray Guy before he got in, and I'm like, I can't believe you're not in there. I mean, people don't realize not only a great punter, just a great athlete. I mean, he probably could have started at safety for us. Might have been all pro at safety, and then, his punch were just incredible. I mean, he was just such a gifted athlete. And,
when the other teams start checking the balls to see if there's helium in them, that'll tell you something.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Actually, I can't believe that really happened. That was a little before my time, but
a little bit.
That's funny.
Well, I tell you what, though, I'm not sure when, but the next time I head up to Canton, hopefully it will be for a Raider going in. But I know you're up in the Cleveland area. I'll definitely look for you, let you know that I'm coming up there for that. So hopefully we can get a crew of the Raiders together for an event for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope in the near future we see a couple more Raiders go in.
And congratulations to your daughter on her graduation from UT. That's where I got a chance to meet Mr. Squirek personally. So, guys, make sure that you give some good blessings, good thoughts to make sure that Jack's daughter gets a damn good job. So Jack don't have to pay anything anymore. So that's one less big bill for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, those bills are piling up a little bit, but thankfully she's a great kid, and she's worked hard and doing well, and the prospects look pretty good. So I'm happy for her. Incidentally, she doesn't want to leave Tampa because of the weather. You know, she grew up with the gruesome winters of Cleveland, Ohio. So I guess I can't blame her. You know.
Well, that's for sure. Well, is your daughter a Raiders fan, obviously, or is she still partial to the Browns?
Yeah, she is. She's not like a huge fan, though. I mean, she doesn't really. She likes it, but she's not like a diehard fan, I would say. So, but she does like the Raiders.
Well, she should, because Dad was instrumental in that, and like I said, in one of their wins.
Yep, exactly.
Is there anything else that you need that we can grab from you? You know, just any last minute thoughts that you want to impart upon the people here that are listening now, and will see this video via YouTube and also in Facebook at a later time?
Well, I just want to say, you know, to all the fans that we appreciate the support. You know, obviously I'm not playing anymore, but as Mark Davis always says, once a Raider, always a Raider. And they treat us ex-players well. And, you know, we just appreciate the fans supporting us. And, you know, it really means a lot when you have, you know, diehard Raider fans in the stands. You know, you're definitely like the 12th player, because it really can sometimes it can, you know, decide a game, you know, when the fans are really loud and really pushing for you. It really means a lot, and I appreciate, you know, the support that they give us.
Well, we definitely appreciate what you've done there, Jack, and obviously anytime you need to get a hold of me, you got my ways, and I hope to see you sometime real soon. And again, my best to you, sir, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and take care.
I will, and thanks again. And for folks,
okay,
that was Mr. Jack Squirek, the Raider of Fame from Super Bowl 18, the one gentleman that had a chance to intercept that Joe Theismann pass at the very end, and made sure that instead of it being 14 to maybe 10 or 14 to 6, it was then 21 to 3. And go look up Jack Squirek. And again, people ask me why I am the way I am, as being a you know, making sure that the older Raiders get their due. And there are Raiders that I've never even seen play, but I know about them because I studied what they did for the Raiders even before I started watching games. So go to the video if you can, or go look up these books that these people are in. I mean, go beyond even before, you know, Darryl LaMonica. You know, Tom Flores was the quarterback, you know, for the Raiders from jump, you know. And, you know, obviously Jim Otto was there, and, you know, they had, you know, Clem Daniels handing the ball up to him. You know, Billy Cannon, who just recently passed, was the tight end. You know, these players were great. They were great. And again, I didn't see all of these guys, but I learned about them because I care and love my team. So it's about 15 minutes. We got about 14 minutes. And again, if you want to call me and ask a question to me, let me get the number out here. It should be in the promo, but in case you didn't get it, here it is. It's 813-699-0834. Again, 813-699-0834. Ask the captain. That's what the show is about. So go ahead and give me a call if you wish, and I'll put you right on. Now, remember, if I'm talking to you, you know, and you hear somebody else is on the line, don't call in, because, again, it'll just ring and it'll go right into the speakers, and then, you know, it's just noise at that point. But, again, I'm here for you. I'll continue to answer your questions about, what you have in mind through the comments here. Matt suggested that Jim Otto has a great book about the history of the Raiders. I'll actually look to see if I think I have that one, Matt. There isn't, and it's actually on my bookshelf over there. There is just a big collection of books about the Raiders. So I think I have Jim Otto's book. I'm pretty sure I do. If not, I'll definitely go get it based upon what you had. I know that the first book that I remember reading, to me, it's a book about the Raiders or a Tom Clancy book. And if it wasn't that, I wasn't reading it because I didn't really care about it. Clancy being, military intelligence and spy versus spy and all that good stuff that, of course, interests me, or a book about the Raiders. So I pretty much have read all of those Raider books. So, and, 1 knee equals 2 feet with John Madden. I actually got an original copy, first edition, that hopefully I'll get a chance to have him sign. That would just be wonderful. So hopefully I'll get a chance to have that happen. And in case you don't know what's going on, Game 7 tonight with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. It's on right now. I don't know a score. Why? Because on my TV, Star Wars Episode 5 is on right now. And in that blessings, I definitely would watch that over watching LeBron. I just don't like LeBron, but that's without saying. And Chris, you have a blessed Memorial Day as well. And that leads me to one thing I do want to make sure that y'all remember about Memorial Day. And I said this in my message the other day. Please, I know it's well wished as far as you saying that there's nothing in your mind that you're saying anything wrong, but try not to say, hey, happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day is about remembering the fallen, remembering the men and women of the military that have made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can maintain our nation the way it is, a republic, not a democracy, a republic, to make us the greatest nation in the world today. So if you see somebody, being tomorrow is Memorial Day, and I know that they're going to have a boatload of war movies on, probably TNT. That's one of the things I always remembered about Memorial Day and Veterans Day, is that I can tune on, TNT or TBS, and I'm going to watch a boatload of war movies all day long. So, again, Memorial Day is about remembering the veterans, those that have lost their lives for this country. It's not about Veterans Day, because that's other bailiwick. And again, happy Veterans Day just doesn't make it for me as well. Remember the fallen on Memorial Day, and remember the veterans on Veterans Day. And we do have a score. Thanks, Mike. 78-74 Cavs with 2 minutes left. Wow. Can LeBron James actually go to that finals, make it 8 straight years? I don't know. I guess it's on ESPN. What I will do is, for the benefit of the audience, I will put on ESPN. Hopefully, if it goes through. Yes, it did. I will go back to Star Wars Episode 5 in a minute, because there it is. You guys can't see it, but I have a very nice TV in here. Of course, it's on mute. But again, remember those during this Memorial Day weekend. 79-74 now. 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Wow. A little less than 2 minutes. So we'll see. Now, one of the things that I wanted to bring about was the fact that obviously with OTAs last week, and there were obviously things that we needed to know about. The primary things that I wanted you guys to remember is that, and nope, Celtics got the ball, is that one of the, I don't want to say surprising, but I want to say most due is the fact that Maurice Hurst is playing first team defense. Remember, just because he was a fifth-round pick does not mean that he's not a first-round talent, because he was and is a first-round talent that the Raiders got in the fifth round. And all of the Raiders draft picks are assigned, except, Arden Key. Now, Arden Key is going to be very, I want to say he's going to be a key cog this year, because it's always been who's got Khalil Mack, who's got Bruce Irvin, and if they got these two guys and they got them locked up, the Raiders didn't have that push in the middle. Well, now not only do we have that, yeah, thanks, Steve. I have it turned on. I was watching TNT because I know TNT has the Warriors series, but then again, I was watching, like I said, I was watching Star Wars 5, Empire Strikes Back. I was watching the original before the episode came on. But again, going back to, I got you, Matt, and I thank you for saying that. Tank Carradine, the kid out of Florida State, which had so much promise coming into the pros, that was a Niner for many years, definitely misused. The fact that he went up, he went down with his weight because they couldn't really find a spot for him, or they didn't have anything in the scheme for him to actually do his best at. Now, Tank was a great player with the Seminoles, but he always had problems with injury. So providing that he can maintain a proper weight and the fact that he will have a position set forward, is he going to be a defensive end? Well, as of right now, he is, because he's playing in Mac's spot right now, because obviously Khalil, we're not gonna ruin him in OTAs, not gonna cause an injury, because again, if you guys haven't been paying attention, Hunter Henry of the Chargers, their fantastic tight end, he's already gone for the year. He's gone. And that's one less weapon that the Raiders defense is going to have to worry about this year. And he was a great weapon. Remember, they've already gotten rid of Antonio Gates. Hunter Henry was their tight end, and he was a force. He was a force for the Chargers, and he's not going to play this year. So in that respect, the Raiders have gotten pretty much a good deal in the fact that they don't have to worry about Hunter Henry this year, and Antonio Gates is gone. 1 minute to go in the Cavs-Celtics game with they just had the score, and they put Jeff Green's stats over it. Come on, guys, roll the score. Roll the score. Roll the score. Oh, LeBron's on the line. I'll tell you a score in a minute. Okay, 84-74, so 10 points with a minute to go. Looks like the C's are done. They're thinking about bringing Gates back. Well, you know what, Matt? They should, because they'd be stupid not to. If you lose your number one tight end, and Antonio Gates, even if he is old, even if he isn't playing the same way that he has in the past, I would want Antonio Gates as my tight end. But I still think that the loss of Hunter Henry is going to be very much a detriment to that offense. Because, yeah, Antonio Gates is pretty much a shell of himself, but he's better than what they have on the roster right now. And the funny thing is that the Raiders have always had trouble guarding and covering the tight end. That still remains to be seen whether they are going to be able to do that. But again, what I was talking about with the fact that we have Mack and Irvin and Arden Key rushing from the outside, then we have that push up the middle, okay? Push up the middle. We got Hurst. We have Hall. We got Jelly, who's primarily a run stuffer, and I think in passing downs we're going to go to a Hurst Hall tandem is what I'm thinking, because Hall can be phenomenal just rushing the passer, being a one-gap defensive tackle. I think that they're going to do well. Played in Darrell Lamonica Stadium. Played at Sanger High, whose stadium was named after Tom Flores. Wow. Well, that's cool, Mike. That's awesome. That's awesome. You guys should check out the comments here from Mike Merker. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and Steve, a very good statistic that you guys might want to be aware of. Yeah, 30 seconds to go. Put a fork in the Celtics because they are done. They are done. So LeBron goes to the finals again to face who? We'll find out, because Game 7 of the West is upcoming, I think, tomorrow. And will it be that the Dubs have seen their last championship for a while? We'll see. But again, no calls tonight. That's a bummer. But again, remember, or if you did call, I didn't get any that I could hear. And I have on my Google Hangouts right now. So we'll see. But again, it's Ask the Captain here. Will be Sunday nights. I don't know if I'm going to be doing it next Sunday because I'm out of town. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens this year. So again, I thank you for being there. I especially thank Jack Squirek for joining us this evening. I plan to have as many Raiders that I can have on this show. If they're not Raiders, then we're going to have people that are tied to the Raiders, either via family. Hopefully maybe get some, I'm hoping to get some Raiderettes. Not present Raiderettes, but ladies that were Raiderettes on the team calling in and saying their stories. I mean, that's a touchy subject nowadays when you talk about lady cheerleaders. I'd love to have some stories about what's going on with them. So be sure to come and watch Ask the Captain. I got that phone number for you. It's kind of late to do a phone call now because we're about a minute and a half going from the show. And thank you, Matt, for bringing up Matt Millen's health. Matt Millen is battling a very debilitating disease, and he's mentally strong as hell. Go back. I think that Peter King from Sports Illustrated had a Monday Morning Quarterback. I think maybe it was last week. Very long article about Matt Millen and say some positive for Matt Millen. So again, it's Ask the Captain, and we will be playing out here right now. Remember, Raider Reaction is here for you all during the week. There are shows. Tomorrow is going to be Ghost of the Post show with the commish. Tuesday, commish has a show as well. Wednesday is Raider Nation Invasion. The commish with, I'm not sure who will have on. I know that sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Miss Angria, sometimes it's Big L. Thursday, it's the commish and the captain for Raider Nation Ricochet. That's Thursdays. And make sure you always watch the wonderful shows that we have on for Friday. Thank you there for the positives on the show. And yeah, I'll be more than happy to have the funnel questions for you guys. So again, it's Ask the Captain here on Raider Reaction. If I'm not here next Sunday,
You can't make this shit up.
can't make this shit up, but there'll be something for you. Remember, the Raiderette show occurs on Saturdays as well, and we got some great ladies that talk football for you as well. So be sure to give them a shout on that show all during the week. Raider Reaction is here for you. So from the captain to you, yarg! Raider Nation, touchdown Raiders, just like what we want to hear a lot this year. Drop the verse, baby. Fade to black.
When you have great coaches,
and here it is.
Then after you have great coaches, you get great players.
From Al Davis.
Great organization, and you tell them one thing.
Just win, baby. I'm out. Captain Jack.